Drought-stricken Auckland is staring down the barrel of a hot summer after a lengthy and punishing dry spell this year. The supercity will be released from the shackles of household water restrictions later this month, but authorities say it hasn't escaped its water woes just yet. The region's dams are just 72% full, when they're usually 90% full at this time of the year. Our reporter Jean Bell and camera operator Dan Cook went to check out whether the city's water supply will last the summer.
In late May, Upper Mangatawhiri Dam in the Hanua Ranges was an abysmal 38% full. You couldn't even get a boat onto the dam as the water around the launching ramp was too shallow. Today the dam is 67% full. It is usually around 98% full at this time of year. James Talbot is the operations controller at Watercare. He can get a boat on the water now, but says that's not necessarily cause for celebration.
The dam levels, particularly in the Hanua Ranges and at Mangatawhiri, where we are today, have come up a bit, not a huge amount, but they have certainly increased. We were down well below 50% for a while there.
Auckland Council is scrambling to resolve the supercity's water woes. Mandatory water restrictions were enforced in May. People were asked to take 4-minute showers and were banned from using outdoor hoses and water blasters. The council has splashed out $224 million on infrastructure to increase take from the Waikato River and other sources, including the Hayes Creek Dam and a new treatment plant in Pukekohe. Mr Talbot says full-up dams would be ideal, but this increased supply and decreased demand has helped keep things afloat.
The draw off the lakes has been significantly reduced, and that's largely down to the great job Aucklanders have been doing.
But Mr Talbot says Aucklanders can't afford to take their eye off their water usage.
For me personally, the lakes are still lower than what they would have been prior, so it's still going to be really important for people to maintain those good habits that have been instilled over the last few months.
And he's got some water saving tips for Aucklanders.
I'm a big fan of the additional buckets in the shower, that's for sure, for use elsewhere around the home or house. In addition to that, I think particularly on people that are on, that have high pressure coming out their taps, just being really vigilant about how long those taps are open for and keeping them closed when they're not in use.
Watercare Acting Chief Executive Marlon Bridge says while things have improved, Auckland's not off the hook yet.
Well, right now we're at a comfortable level in terms of where the lakes are at, and demand's been exceptionally good, with Aucklanders saving over 7 billion litres to date. The weather forecasts are also showing positive signs compared to May earlier this year, but in terms of supply, we're well on track with the additional supply, non-dam related, so things are looking positive, but we're not out of the woods yet.
He says Aucklanders have stepped up to the challenge of saving water and they need to continue that.
I think there needs to be this ongoing push that water is a precious resource, and I think people are starting to get that. In Auckland we haven't had what we've had to date, but then we haven't had the biggest drought in the history of Auckland. So for me it is, water is a precious resource and we need to treat it with respect.
Water restrictions in Auckland have been eased just in time for summer, but are we out of the woods yet? We hit the streets to find out what Aucklanders think.
Forecast saying we're going to have a long dry summer. If we use it all now, won't be any left in the summer, and we'll have more restrictions as we move forward into January and February.
We were driving out to Huia and went past the Nehitopi Dam and pulled in and saw that, it looked really, really low, and you could see a whole lot of brown earth that typically wasn't there, and kind of made us realise that it was a situation and it was quite serious.
Ideal would be 90%, but that's very unlikely to happen. But we still need to be respectful. Save water, not waste it, not wash our cars every weekend.
Phil Goff, the Mayor of Auckland, is confident there is enough water in the tank to see the city through the summer.
I have assurances from Watercare that with the extra investment we've put in, new water treatment plants at Pukekohe, about to open in Papakura, further extended in Tuakau in the new year, we will increase overall within the last 18 months our water supply to the city by 96 million litres a day. That, together with the savings that Aucklanders have made, have meant that we haven't suffered what might have been the case given that we had the worst drought in the history of the city.
He's confident further more severe restrictions won't be slapped back on the city.
We never know what the weather is going to deliver. Every time I'm told that there's going to be rain, sometimes I see, as we did in September and October, some of the driest months on record for the city. But on the combined effect of greater water supply and conservation measures by Aucklanders, I'm confident that we can get through the situation without severe water restrictions.
Aucklanders have been given one small reprieve. The hand hose is back in a couple of weeks, but it has to be used with a trigger nozzle. But with a long, hot summer looming, residents of the city of Sails are being reminded to keep a lid on their water consumption. Mō te hotako o te ahi nei ko Jean Bell TNA.